It's about his experiences in a way that is compassionate, while also observing his professional discipline as a trained observer. Howard read an early manuscript of this book and was an enthusiast for getting it published. I was still unsure. However, he did suggest the book should come with a warning. Howard said, "This will inspire some and strengthen others, but there could also be others it will send into a downward spiral. I hereby issue that warning, but state that my aim in writing this is to be uplifting. Why do I choose to be uplifting? Because I can." I attended a Catholic boarding school in Tasmania from 1966 to 1971. 3 of the 12 priests on the staff when I arrived have since gone to prison for sexual crimes committed while I was there, and allegations have been publicly directed against others. Further sexual abuse cases occurred at the school after I left, so that as it now stands, 6 former staff members have been sent to jail. Throughout 2018 and 2019, a stream of claims by former students, some with names, some anonymous, began appearing on the ABC Tasmania website in a series of stories written by journalist Henry Zwartz. Each disclosure took me back to a time in my life when I thought I inhabited a concrete reality. Now that concrete reality was bending and breaking like buildings in an earthquake. Then, in June 2019, the local parish priest, Father John Gadauskas, came out and said he had been sexually abused by a priest while a student at the school in the 1970s. My eldest brother Pat, a phlegmatic bloke who attended the old school from 1960 to 65, emailed me. Bloody hell, what next? At one stage I was approached by a journalist for an interview. I declined. If I were to speak publicly about my school days, I wanted total control over what I said. I didn't want what I had to say being swallowed up into someone else's narrative, particularly someone else who wasn't there when it happened. This isn't just any story to me. This is a primal story, one that unlocks doors into an inner world otherwise kept private. The reason the journalist approached me, I assumed, was because he'd learned I gave evidence against one of the priests sent to prison. I was 16 at the time the incident occurred and school vice-captain. My statement to the police described being led by a kid at night to where a 12-year-old stood shaking and shuddering in his pyjama trousers. He turned and showed me a spray of semen up his back. That was 1971. Around 30 years later, I got a phone call from the police in the Tasmanian town where the old school sits. I'd always half expected the call, having done a law degree at university. I knew the difference between evidence and hearsay. What I had seen was evidence. Agreeing to testify was the easy part. It's a very serious matter to give evidence against someone that will send them to prison and destroy their reputation. Being a journalist has taught me how unreliable memory is. How when you return to stories you wrote years before, you inevitably find that while you remember certain particulars of the story clearly and accurately, there are details you have invented and/or omitted. Basically, we fashion our experience into stories we can live with. We decorate our inner selves as busily as we decorate our houses. Having zealously avoided colluding with any other potential witness in the case, I asked myself, not once but repeatedly, how do I know my memory of that night in 1971 is true? Eventually I resolved that if I was asked that question in the witness box, I would reply, all I know is that whenever I think of that night, the same memory always appears. The same event, the same faces, all appearing in the same order. It never changes.